Might need to unmute. Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Line of Code. Happy Monday to all of you. Hello, Jamie. Welcome back to this side of the internets. Oh man, what is going on? How is it going? How did you go? How is everything? I have a lot of stuff to close, a lot of stuff to look for. Let's close that. Do. Okay, those are good. Those are good. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. What else? What else do I need to get going? Hello, Dukasoft. I need to make sure that the bot, what do I call it? Switch bot. Is actually connected because I needed to disconnect at some point and restarting my internets. So I think I should be good to go. All right, well, hello, and as I mentioned before, welcome to the One Line of Code stream, where we work on full stack web development. And on Fridays, we have a community day where we just hang out and talk about stuff. And last Friday, we did some Stable Diffusion chat prompting, turning up my microphone. I think I'm turning it up. I might be turning it down. But anyway, it's cold. It's very cold, and I'm freezing, wearing a t-shirt. Oh well. Okay, anyway, let me just verify properties. That's what I thought. Oh, that would have been fun. Okay, I need to get a couple more things set up. Oh, what? How in the world did that happen? Oh my gosh, man, this thing is so annoying. So we're going to move sides again because OBS decided to switch which monitor it is stuck on. It won't let me switch to... Dude, stop moving the camera like that. Something like that. It just does this thing where it doesn't let me actually choose the display that I'm using as my primary display, or as the display that I'm using for the stream. And so I actually have to switch which one is being used as my primary display and then move all of my windows over to the correct screen. What else is over here? Email is over here. You guys don't need to see my email. Soundtrack. Discord. Okay, so we have the financial management app running. Not really running, but that's the browser that I'm going to use for it. Visual Studio. And everything else is on this side. To include chat. Yeah, it's Windows. Sorry. Still moving stuff around. But thank you, Dukasoft. It is Windows. And what happened is over the weekend, I was projecting my computer to another screen. So I added a display. And oh, you know what I probably could have done? I could have disabled that display and then it would have moved over there. Whatever. Doesn't matter. This is where we're at now. we're slowly moving over. We're gonna have to reverse the desktop scene so that everything is flipped again. It's gonna be so confusing. So confusing. Okay, if I look at my properties for this, then now that's the screen. You're gonna go over here so that you can see my water bottles. Over here, water bottles. Drink water. That's my phone. Gosh, is that gonna be a thing? Don't be a thing. Okay, I think we're good. Up. Are we good? We good? Oh wait, no. My little organizer thing is still going to be showing up in the scene. There, I think. Anyway, let's go to the main scene. See what happens. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely going to be there. It looks good. Can't see the missing pants. I'm wearing lower body covering. Okay. Unlock. Move the camera. Okay, so I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that you can see my. Although, can you see the bottom of the monitor over there? That's not good. Something. Hey. Hey. Hey, seizure warning. Hey. I mean, hi, Goku Jax. Are we good? Did you get rid of the... Do you know depth now? I think it's fixed. I think it's fixed. Okay, so let's put these two things. It's so hard. Like, they really need shortcut keys, or not shortcut keys, but they need to detect when you are purposefully holding. Oh, that's not good. When you're purposefully holding the control key or shift key so that it moves straight horizontally. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I sure don't. I'm having trouble. This is really hard. Display screen. Yes, display screen is what I'm trying to move. The AI generated image. Display screen goes over here. The marquee text, which is really hard to target. Hello, Hokagne. I am struggling. But yes, I believe you are following. Were you looking for follow age or no? Next. Oh, let's lock you. That way we can target this. No, why are you moving the background? That's the wrong one. Did I mention this is hard? That one's locked. Now I can target you? Okay, there we go. How does that look? It looks okay. It looks fine. It's fine. What else needs to move? Is that everything? That's everything for now. Go up just a little bit. Chat. 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 Thanks. Good times. Nothing like starting a Monday off with some technical difficulties. Good to go. All right. So let's get everything up on screen that we want. This is the app that we have been working on. Big Gamey's here, and he's got a bad feeling about this, which I didn't hear in my ears. It's almost like all of my OBS settings got reset. Oh, man. And then I bet you the next time that we stream, it's going to be reset again. And I'm going to have to switch everything back. Okay, that should be everything. You didn't hear it either. That's not a good sign. Let's check the audio. It's doing Realtek for 2. And then for that specific one, yeah, desktop audio 2. And general alerts. So confused. General alerts. I heard a nothing. Microphone is crisp. Yeah. I think we're good to go. Did we get reset up? I'm still trying to get my audio to do what it's supposed to do. Can you hear the music at least? My general alerts are not muted. Or are they muted? No, they're not muted. No sound. You hear me and the music, but no general alerts. Always something. Change you to disabled, change you back to Realtek. Good answer. think we're just gonna have to go without general alerts today. What about free bit sounds? You cannot cheer on your own channel. Can someone play a free bits thing? There should be some zero cost bits. Nothing. Neither the sound alerts nor the general alerts. But hi, DC Aggie. We can't hear the baby. Alberto, you're such a baby. You're able to cease thinking on command. There, I did it. Why do you have to do this, OBS? I mean, come on. Just be consistent. That's all I ask. That's all I ask of you. So DC Aggie, I was starting to write back to you in your non-code help thing, but oh my gosh. I didn't even finish reading Live Coding's response, so I didn't duplicate what he was recommending. That's what I was trying to do first, but then I got carried away with my job, with my work. And I know that you asked this like a couple days ago, but I'm usually not on Discord over the weekend. You hear it when you play it yourself, but not when you play it on the stream. Wakarimasen desu. No clue. Let's see if if Firefox sound alerts library I've got a bad feeling about this. Excuse me, aren't you supposed to be going with my library, not, oh, my alerts? Channel points. I got a bad feeling about this. Play on this page.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay, so it'll play through Firefox, but it doesn't play through the browser source. Alert. This is my alert browser screen. Let's see if maybe I just need to reconnect somehow. Settings, setup, use OBS. I want the copy and paste method. And which one is this? Sound alerts. Same URL. Refresh.
Let's go.
Hey! Wait.
Hey, kappa, hey, kappa, hey.
Okay. One more try. One more try.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay. So we got bad feeling and yay. What about a 0 bits thing? And Mojo's here. Hello, MojoBot.
Proceed.
Proceed. Yes. We have our sounds back. All I had to do was refresh the browser sources. That's what it was. Here I am. Engage. I hear, but I don't see stream. Oh. So yeah, my OBS. Yes, let's. My OBS decided to play some tricks on us, and April Fool's was 2 weeks ago. There, OBS. It's not fun. So where are we? We are in the middle of working on our edit functionality for transactions in this application. And now we're also in the middle of everything just breaking because we're not even running the app. So maybe we should try starting the app. And then I could show you where we are. That was a great start to the stream. That was like 15 minutes of 20 minutes of trying to troubleshoot this stuff. Anyway, do you like this image? This image? It's AI generated. Again, I got a new model. I haven't been getting new models because models are like 5 gigabytes each. But this one it was a model merge, which is another type of model that I try not to download very much of because it's like, if it's a merge of all of these weights, doesn't that mean that the original models, I can combine them and get the kind of images that I want? But since this one was, I don't know, pre-merged with different weights, and it generated some pretty cool looking stuff, I was like, I'll download it. Why not? So I have a new model that I'm playing with and getting pictures out of on occasion. Everything breaking is what I say in the morning stand-ups. Our morning stand-ups have... So our project manager went on vacation, well-deserved vacation. And he's going to be gone for 2 weeks. So he put one of our other members, one of our team members in charge. And the way that team member runs the daily stand-up is more like a I don't even know what the names of those types of meetings are, but we go through the current release notes essentially, and we find out where we're at with the items that still need to be fully complete before we can release, versus this is a daily stand-up. Say what you're doing today. Do you need help from anyone? Say what you're doing today. Do you need help from anyone? Say what you're doing today. Do you need help from anyone? Okay, stand up over. Go away. Kind of thing. So I'm not exactly sure what exactly. It's just not a stand-up, that's all. I'm expecting stand-up, I get something else, and it throws me. It moves me off kilter. Okay, anyway. What are we doing? We are trying to get this edit functionality to work. I was waiting for this thing to actually load so we can do a .NET stare on the project so we can see the actual project and stuff. Yeah. Oh boy. I'm really excited, just so you guys know. I will be excited over the next few weeks depending on emails that I receive and information that I get about various things. So I might be even more all over the place than I usually am. I'll do my best to stay centered and not give off anxiety vibes, because I like for people to feel calm-esque when they hang out here. Like they can come somewhere that is centered and grounding. But right now, it's exciting times for me. And there's just this kind of electric energy going on inside of me. Okay, So the place that we've gotten to is we have the ability to delete, mark as deleted, which is to add a purge date to a record, to a transaction record. And now we have the edit transaction window popping up. That wasn't quite stretching the way that we wanted to, and so we were fighting with the CSS to be able to style it better. We're expecting the modal to stretch to fit the child content, but for some reason we just keep getting a fixed width in the card or the modal or something. Couldn't figure it out. So for now, because that's just a styling thing and we're going to go through a pass of updating all of our styles, I'd rather see if we can get the edit button to work. And right now it says delete, but it will say edit, or update. It'll say update. And the things that we'll be able to do with update are, for a payment type of transaction. Yeah, agreed, BitGamey. Agreed. Speaking of, if you guys haven't seen BitGamey, you definitely should check him out. Let's do an actual shout out. It's been a while since we've seen, or a shout out with a clip. Since we've seen clips, let's make sure the clip has.
Oh no, I'm being squashed. Somebody make it stop.
That was awesome. Yeah, was that when you were doing the Polaroid? You were setting up the Polaroid, I think. I was there for that stream. Not a baby. I really liked it, the Polaroid. You take a Polaroid on stream and then it prints it out and then it posts it to your Discord, and it was really cool. I like it. It was just Star Wars trash compactor redeem. It is no more, and the Polaroids are no more. Yeah, I remember them being a thing and it was cool, but definitely understand. But yeah, if you couldn't tell, there are lots of fun things to do on BitGamey's channel. Plus, he's really cool. He's so laid back, so awesome. And he's working on a game called I Am a Dog, in the spirit of other I Am a games. Oh, he doesn't have a no you command. I don't belong in this community. It'd be really nice for this thing to just stretch out, though. Excuse me. Can you fit content? It'd be really nice if you could fit content. There it is. Yeah, we have all of these possible places where our width could be set to something it shouldn't be set to. At one point, we got some good ideas where the thing that it could have been was the table inside of the edit transaction, payment transaction data entry page. But when we edit a deposit or transfer that don't use tables, it still doesn't stretch the way that it's supposed to. And so I'm just putting width auto on everything up the chain, just to see if any of these cause it to stretch the content, but none of it did. None of it did. Oh, wait, that's weird. Oh, it's probably because I was down one. And it's got to be that this thing is set as grid, because if I do display block, for example, then it fits inside of the container, even though it should be that the container stretches to fit the content. Oh my goodness. That's even behavior that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, we just turn. And I've tried that before too. I tried turning width off Oh. I thought that there was still an issue when I turned the fixed width off. Wait, what? Okay, well, we're going to turn off the width of the payment entry form and see what happens. That was weird. Oh, when it's inside of the edit transaction dialog. Is that you? Edit transaction modal. Payment data entry form, which is a data entry form, which is this thingy here. And for whatever reason, that's not getting picked up. I think that's what we saw. I think we found out that that was the issue. But for whatever reason, the data entry form target thing was not actually getting to this. So let's look at it real quick. We have edit transaction modal. That is inside of a container. We may as well give it an ID. Edit transaction modal container. And let's just see if this is causing an issue where we have our top level CSS rule as : deep, as opposed to some element and then : deep. Oh, Marcus is here. Hello, Marcus. How are your freaky bots coming along? So I was only playing with the bot with the image generation on Friday because it was community day and just felt like having fun doing stuff like that. But now we are back to the actual project. Look at that. Which is our financial management tracker. Okay, so now it's overflowing for some reason, even though everything is set to overflow x none. This is just all so weird. It's behaving in ways that I don't expect it to. Oh, I know why. It's because we added... No, I don't know why. You didn't... I didn't save. It didn't... He didn't save. He didn't save. Come on. Maha reload. Unless I made changes that need to be rebuilt. What is going on? Is this not the edit transaction modal? Is that what might be happening? Edit transaction modal. Which would be on our index page. Which I think I just called data entry page. Oh, which would be in a edit transaction row. Transaction history row. I'm so confused. Which is in our base transaction. Edit transaction modal. It's definitely this. Our edit transaction modal is not regenerating. When I make changes. Sumimasen. I made an HTML change that I was expecting to see in our DOM. And it's got nothing. No is a thing. There it goes. So I had to completely rebuild myself from scratch. And it was hard, especially when I didn't have hands for a moment. Then I was like, oh, I need to at least have one hand. And then I started rebuilding myself again. What are you even talking about? So anyway, we now have this edit transaction modal container, and the CSS style is being applied for width auto for our payment entry form. So yeah, that's really odd. I wasn't expecting it to not apply. Yeah, it is. It is very reliable. And I haven't had issues. So like I use .NET Watch because it's even more reliable, in my opinion. Hot reload is. And that's why I was just like, why didn't it apply? So like if I added a class to this div, which is this right here. Yeah, I don't see it. Oh, and it wants me to restart just for adding a class. So that's what I was expecting to happen the other time, is it was just waiting for me to tell it to rebuild and restart. But it wasn't there. But now it is. Whoa. Thank you. I am so not used to those noises at all. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your bits. Oh yeah. Yeah, I need an audio cue, which I think is CUE, but that's fine. When it needs me to rebuild. Is there an actual way to have it see the developer PowerShell and say, or is it something else that would trigger, I guess? The underlying thing that tells the PowerShell that it needs an actual rebuild. I've seen things like that, and actually, what's his name? Softisan Software. Softisan Software has sound events, and it's actually done through sound. Oh, it's so hard to find nowadays. More sound settings. Yeah. So I think it's actually done through here. Yeah. Build failed, build succeeded, build canceled. Eagle Hansen. He's the one that has it. He has Homer going, dope, when build fails. Why are there two sections for it? Credit build has sounds. Yeah, I don't see anything for like hot reload letting us know build needed. That would have been nice. That would have been awesome. Sounds like a feature request. Yeah. Okay, so I said we were going to work on the styling later, but I went ahead and did it now. So let's update this button text thing to say, oh, it would be in our base, which is the future. And the text. Oh no, it will be an edit transaction modal because this is where our templated question is. Okay, so the text is going to be shared localize edit, update, update and cancel. And I don't remember, did I strip out Bootstrap? Yes, I did. Or maybe. Excuse me, can you show me? Yes. Yes, I did. It would be normal to commit now. Thank you, Dugasoft. Especially since I have all of these changes. What even are these? I should have committed a long time ago. I should be doing many minor commits. You are absolutely right. So we updated the modal. Oh, we updated the names of the variables and prepared the current entry form. So adapted data entry forms to add edit functionality. Then I'm just going to do those by themselves, stage that, which would have been these as well. And we probably made some new localized texts. Okay. Then we added the edit modal for existing transactions. And then is this where we added the buttons, or nope, this is where we added the modal itself. Yeah, so that one comment should also be for the change that we made in the transaction row, which is we added the modal markup. Awesome, thank you, Dukasoft. Nice and clean. Ooh, that feels nice. It feels very nice. Edit transaction. So now the only thing left to do is to get the edit functionality to work. So let's just see if we already have it implemented, because I remember as we were doing the test-driven stuff at the very beginning, we did write tests for some update functionality. I don't remember if it was for the transactions or if it was for the lookups. I don't know why I pushed F5. Whatever. We're gonna run the Maui version. Probably because I wanted to see if there were any exceptions. Yeah, so much slower if you're debugging. But I was just showing you that, hey, we are using the exact same user interface for our Maui project, which does Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and Tizen, as well as our web versions, which are Blazor WebAssembly with a hosted API backend, and Blazor Server. That's fun. So we have so many different types of projects for the same UI, using the same UI, with very little differences between them. It's just which service are we dependency injecting for it. Is it one that uses a HTTP context to do the API request? Or is it one that just directly operates because it's running on the server? Okay, so we're gonna try and edit on my local grocer to add sales tax, for example. And I like 2s. So 2.22 monetary units. And we're going to try and update, which did nothing. It looks like it rolled back is what it did. That's fun. And if I refresh, Yeah, nothing happened. Okay, so I don't think we have the logic written for doing the update. It would have been cool if we already had it done. Well, let's take a glance over in our edit transaction modal. What happens when we confirm edit? We turn saving to true, then turn saving to false, and then we complete the transaction. I mean, complete the task. So no, we're not even sending it to the server to be updated. So this should be as simple as turning our current response equal to our, I'm sure we have our transaction service. Update transaction async underscore saving equals completed. I type completed every single time that I try typing completed, at least the first time. That's why I read that way. It was fun. It was fun, okay? It was fun. And the right. var for update equals our current edit transaction, which I think is just called transaction dot clone, and we need to cast it to T. Yeah. So we don't want to send the original model. We want to send the cloned model. I wonder, ooh, oh, the other thing that we need to do is modify a clone of the transaction and not the underlying transaction object itself. I don't have typos, I have misheard words all the time for me. Okay, so the reason you're complaining is because you are not async.
Are you able to cease thinking on command?
Why, yes, I just did, actually. That's what happened. Do. That's my song. Okay. Almost there. Almost. Okay, so what were we doing? We were working on update transaction async. So I said thank you, BitGamey, for your bit. Really appreciate it. Oh man. Save. What I needed to do was get an edit version of the transaction that is being used to populate this modal. And that's the thing that we're going to put into the dialog box thing. And so the way that I'm going to do that is by using public override, set parameters async, and something that we learned on Wednesday, I think, was we should be immediately as the first step, provided there might be, some long running things, or even if they're not super long running things, just anything that might cause the parameters of this component to be out of sync, we should immediately call the base set parameters with those parameters. And then at the end, we call base set parameters parameter view.empty. It was a really good tip for making sure that when you're doing this, then you can keep your parameters synced. And the reason that we are hooking into this lifecycle event is so that we can have our edit transaction Did I put 2 underscores? No, that's just one. So that we can set our edit transaction equal to t transaction.clone. The question mark transaction question mark clone. The reason it wouldn't do it by itself is because we are intercepting the lifecycle event. And the reason we're intercepting the lifecycle event is to get the copy of the transaction object that we're going to use for the editing. And then we'll also be able to track changes on this thing now that we have a clone of it, because we have the original as well as the version that we are editing. And then we can just have a simple, we just check the dirty flag of the form. We don't have a form. This is essentially our form. We do this. Can we check for a null in our switch statement? It kind of looks like we can. So if it's null, then I would like some kind of loading thing. Did I bring in my components? I don't think I did. They're called Ivan loaders. Nope. We'll just do a, how do we do a basic loader? We'll do a basic loader. Shared localizer service loading. That's how we do a basic loader. We say that it's loading. Loading. Okay, so yeah, if it's not one of these, then it is a payment. It will be treated as a payment. No, I don't like that. We'll go ahead and do payment entry view model. And then we'll do default is essentially anything else. Yeah, I like that better. I do. I like that better. And there it goes. We didn't break anything. I hit the update button. It gave us our modal with the populated transaction, which should be the copy of the transaction that we are using here. Perfecto. And so we no longer need to clone our transaction that we are trying to send to the server to get updated, because we have a clone of it. which is going to be our edit transaction here. Oh my goodness. Like, oh. One day I won't have to worry about this. In this morning's stand-up, that was not a stand-up, we got a, the person that was leading it was like, my only goal in life is to turn these statuses to closed. Like, it doesn't even matter whether the issue was complete, the work item was complete or not. The only thing that matters is that we mark it as closed. My heart. Okay, we're using edit. If for some reason edit transaction is null, then there's nothing to do. And we will also disable the cancel button if we are saving or if edit transaction is null. And I think because I have it in parentheses, we have to put the @ symbol around it. That's kind of annoying. Try to use as few @ symbols as I can. My only goal in life is to use no @ symbols. Even if it means that we aren't going to actually get the value. I'm kidding. Oh my gosh. This kid. Okay. We have the button for edit or for confirm edit. Oh, I put that in cancel. You're supposed to be only for confirm. So we are only disabling confirm if edit transaction is not null. That way they still have a way to cancel out of the dialog. There should never be a situation where the edit button is null. Lots to say for just a single character. Yes. Agreed. Because it's like, this is a parameter, this is a property essentially, and then this is a variable, and we're assigning the property to the variable. Which is nice, except when the property is of type string, and then you're like, I have to let this thing know that I'm not trying to set it to the string shared localizer service.update. Instead, I want it to be the value of shared localizer service.update. Yeah, I had to confirm that with myself. I'm like, is that really the case? But yes, it is. Okay, anyway, we have a dialog which now is using a copy, and if we push the update button, it really does send off the request to the server as an update, and we get a response. And this thing is telling me that we got a response that was not an error and one record was affected. That's promising. So let's go back to this one where we were trying to add a sales tax. Hello, spaghetti developer. Comment allez-vous? Ça va? Of 2.22 monetary units. If we update, it sends the record with only one line item. Why is that? It should have sent 2 records. The subtotal plus the tax. Nice. Good answer. Good answer. Genki desu? Genki desu ka? You're French Canadian. Ah. I am American. I only know very few phrases in different languages. I can understand Spanish pretty fluently, but I can't speak it back because my heritage is Puerto Rican. Puerto Riqueño. I probably know more Japanese than I do Spanish now. No, that's a lie. That's a big lie. You don't need to return anything anymore. We got a follow by Swedish Kid. Well, I'm Swedish now. I actually don't know how to say anything in Swedish, even though I should by now. But I don't. Like, Thindle is always trying to teach me. And I got gunk in my trackball. Except for Abba. I know how to say that. True. I forgot. IKEA. That's terrible. Okay, if current response was error, if not current response was error, why not? If current response was error, then we need to exit and the error will be displayed. So we actually need to await invoke async status change, make sure that we are on the correct thread to refresh the UI. This is important if we're running Blazor server or any of the desktop versions, because it is possible that we would be on a thread that is not the UI thread when we come back. And so this will refresh our current response, which is currently set to print out if, come on, if current response was error, we will show the error message. So many things that we get for free that we already did, which I guess means that it wasn't for free, but right now it's free. So yeah, you have to do that kind of thing with WPF all the time. Anytime that you need to update the UI screen that you are looking at from code, you definitely want to make sure you're on the right thread. Otherwise, just set everything to configure await false. That is working on a background thread that doesn't affect other things that are needed. It's just kind of one of those, go do this thing, and then I don't care who gets you back, which thread gets you back. You can continue on with that kind of thing. Okay, so if we don't have an error, then we want to apply our edit transaction to our transaction. And if I recall correctly, we have a transaction.patch where we feed it another model, and that updates all of its properties to match. That's awesome. It does work. We need to tell transaction state that we modified transactions so that all of our things that use transactions, so our transaction history grids, will show the updated transaction, and if that transaction happens to be showing in any other edit screen, which shouldn't be the case, then those will also get updated. And finally, we need to, two finallys. If on confirm clicked has delegate, invoke it, as well as close the modal. Show equals false, which I guess I'm doing it where I set the Boolean first and then I check for the two delegates. So let's move this up. Cool. It does seem kind of overkill to have both an onConfirm clicked and a show changed, but the show changed is specifically for the two-way binding on the show parameter. Oh no, and I've got an error. What is my error? Set parameter is async. Object does not contain a definition for set parameters async. Nani? I'm just gonna rebuild. Am I actually using the navigation lock? Thank you. We actually do have a build failed sound now. Man, if I had that as the actual sound for build fails, oh my gosh, that's the only thing you'd be hearing. Especially since it compiles on like every keystroke essentially. That would get so annoying so fast. I just completely lost my train. All right, it looks like it ran just fine. Let's get the data entry, the edit modal back up. F12. My local grocer is still our payee. We're going to try adding some sales tax in the amount of 2.22 monetary units. What are we sending? We should be sending... Oh, wait, no, you're still good. We're switching on edit transaction, casting it to the appropriate type, sending it to the model. Wait. Oh my gosh, I'm so confused. So we aren't showing this button when we're in the modal. And this one only does an add. Yeah, absolutely. So Marcus is saying from an accessibility point of view, these icons are too small. So yes, we are definitely going to be doing a lot of UI work coming up. So right now we're doing functionality mostly. I was like, I want to understand what you typed. Which just means just zoom in then. What? It looks like a new an actual language. But yeah, I definitely have that happen to me quite often. Where my fingers are just one over home row. Looks like your left hand was in the right place though. I like it though. Okay, we're going to follow this update and find out why we aren't getting back the correct record. We should, because now I'm applying the edit transaction, but the thing that I didn't see happen was when I refreshed the page, the amount didn't update. So right now the total should be 7722. When I perform the update, that will also show up in our transaction history grid, but it's still going to say 75 for some reason. This time around, it might say 7722 because we are updating the underlying transaction object. But when we refresh the page, it's still probably going to say 75. Why didn't you dismiss? Oh, and yeah, it went away. So it was not error. Otherwise, we would see some error messages in here. And we're still only sending one line item. No, that's not right either. Come on, brain. The thing that I just thought was when we're doing this clone, we aren't necessarily getting the child objects. The list of payment entry details cloned as well. We're just getting a reference to the existing list. But I remember that when we did the payment entry view model.clone, we did a deep clone and we had a discussion about what it means to be a deep clone, which is we're taking all of our line items and getting a clone of them and then listing that. So yeah, we're going to have to debug this. Son of a... So I'm going to leave the API running and Blazor Wasm. That could be a new cipher. Just need to know where you're located on the keyboard. It'll be just as secure as ROT 10. Oh, someone said something about Mud Blazor. There? No. Okay, you were just making a statement. I've not used Mud Blazor. Just used. Oh, Blazor modal. Blazored modal and Toast. Yeah, Blazored has really, really good independent components. Those are individual components, single component type things. Yeah. So Blazored modals are good. Blazored Toast. Doesn't Blazored also have a full snack bar? Blazor Eyes has a snack bar. Remember using their snack bar for one of the RMA applications. It's pretty easy to set up too. Okay, we're going to do clone. We're also going to put a breakpoint in our actual edit logic where we are doing the thing where we get the transaction that's being added and cloning it into our edit transaction, and finally our confirm edit where we are sending it to the server, or not finally, we need to do the server-side implementation of it, where we are performing the actual update. Yeah, and I think it's when we're casting it from the generic data entry view model to a payment entry view model. And then to the actual database entity. Is this the entity? No, this is getting the record. And then we're setting values. It's not doing the child values here. But yeah, the main thing is we're not even sending the new values. So the other one it could be is in the actual payment data entry component when we are adding a line item here. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. I'm using EF in a way you haven't seen, really? Oh, as far as with the set values, yeah. It's mostly because I have a lot of generics going on. So on the server side, every single transaction looks very similar to the other, where it has a transaction date, transaction type, and then a few other fields that are common for any kind of transaction. Then there are differences in transactions, like a deposit has the deposit lookup reference, a transfer has a transfer table that it checks to see what is the source account, what's the target account, and subtract from one, add to the other kind of thing. This would be much easier if I wasn't using generics, but that would be so much repeated code. But it would be less complicated. Yeah, what I think is happening though is we are getting an edit payment entry view model. No, not payment entry view model. Payment data entry. Code behind. We are cloning the clone, which means that the underlying object itself is not the thing that is getting modified. But I'm passing the responsibility to do the cloning of the object to the modal, the edit transaction modal. So this thing here is the clone. Control tab. And then if you hold control down, then you can use arrow keys to navigate around. You can keep pushing control tab to go through all of them. You can get dizzy, a little nauseated. So yeah, the question is, how do I put this information in the... Yeah, oh my gosh. Because I am hiding the submit button, there is never a time when I am applying the changes made to the underlying model for the payment entry form part to the parent, to the actual object that is being populated in the payment parameter. So I really am going to leave it up to the container of this thing to clone if it needs to clone, or tell it to modify the original value. So yes, we're going to stop the app, let it crash while we make this change. There it is. That's really interesting. We are still going to keep the edit payment, but instead of making a clone, we're just going to reference the payment parameter that's being passed in. So this is going to be a reference as opposed to a clone of. That's going to work. So we need to do that for the deposit entry form. And the transfer. Transfer. So lazy. He's so lazy. Yeah, you don't want to hold down tab, because if you hold down tab, then it's going to do that. So you want to hold down control and then tell it to push tab. And then release control when you find the thing that you want. If you tell it to also hold shift, then that'll go backwards. Okay. So that should be all three of them. Can we build now? Man, I don't know why you were having so much trouble building after we fix the issues. Unless there is still another issue, but I don't think there is. I don't think there is. So we're just going to stop this. Rerun it. So I at least need the API running if I'm going to be debugging with WPF, Maui. But yeah, it built just fine. And let's run it with debugger attached. I don't think we're going to be able to debug the API code when I do it like this, because I don't have a debugger attached to the process that's running. Maybe I can do attach debugger? No? Yeah, I would have to start both in debug. So I can do that by finding my developer console. Nope, that's command window. Man, can you not have the developer console open when you have a debugger attached? Whatever. We'll be fine. It's gonna work. It's just gonna work. Stop it. That's not what we're debugging. Stop it. Why are you doing this? Oh, because you're creating the actual edit modal for everything that's showing up in the transaction history grid. So because the edit modal component belongs to the row itself, it's going to load the row, which is fine. This should be fine because we're creating a copy of everything that's showing up in the grid of every record. But again, that shouldn't be too big of an issue because we can limit the number of items that we show in a table and have a pager. But that could get pretty big if we have something like, I don't know, 1,000 items allowed to be shown in the table at a time. Which would probably still have its own issues. But here we go. We go to edit, and I forgot to do this thingy. Whatever. As long as we have this one turned on. We modify, because this is most likely what a user would do with this, is they would modify the line items, which I need the ability to edit line items as well. update. Edit transaction is not null, and it should have 2 line items now, thank goodness. So let's try sending it. And so this is the client side version of update transaction from our service, which is do a HTTP put to the controller, and that controller is going to be API/T T data entry view model minus the text view model, which is in, I don't even know where that's defined. Hey, oh, it's just a local variable, duh. This.get API endpoint, and then I'm actually hard coding it, so never mind. It's a lookup switch statement that says if the type of T is a, then it's going to be, yeah, anyway. So then this is where I won't be able to debug. This is going to the controller of the API for that specific transaction type, the put method, which calls the server side implementation of the service, which we saw here, and we're not going to be able to debug it because we're not debugging the API. But we'll be able to see the output from the API in the developer console that we can't see while we're debugging. That's dumb. But it looks like it was successful. It responded with a 200 OK, and it gave us a response object that says record ID 7, even though it still says that it modified 0 records. That's not good because it should have modified at least 1 record, which is the new payment detail. And so because it was successful, we're going to patch the underlying transaction object for this component. And so now that underlying transaction object should have 2 line items. One is the original subtotal of 75 monetary units, and the other is the sales tax, or I guess I didn't specify that it was sales tax, but the tax in the amount of 2.22 monetary units. Tell everyone that we modified the transactions, which means they re-render. Hide the modal because it was successful. Perform the onConfirm clicked. And the modal still didn't go away. I need to invoke async. Tea isn't coffee, or is it? Maybe coffee is just a bean tea. How dare you, DC Aggie? Tyron's here. Tyron is the one that was talking about MudBlazor as well. He answered Marcus, voice coder. He said, I've used MudBlazor a lot. It's nice and easy to use and customize, but still young. Cool. Hi, Tyron. Sorry I didn't read it off earlier. I was kind of stuck in my thought. And then Spaghetti said, MudBlazor is pretty good. Don't know about the others. Marcus said, I believe there is a type ahead, something like that. Yeah, I love the type ahead components. I've made my own. So I have my own component library that I threw together while I was working at RMA. All Blazor component library. And so I just really wanted to get familiar with how exactly components are put together, what are some strategies for making these types of things. So it was a lot of fun, but these are definitely not like I wouldn't even be able to compare them to the youngest Blazor component library that is currently available, that at least more than 100 people use. But this is a goal of mine, is to make this more robust, make it customizable, and have it be open source so that if you wanted to make your own components, you can derive from these and learn from them and improve them, because it'll be an open source project that currently has a pull request. That Dependabot's telling me I need to increase the version of Newtonsoft. Open sauce. But yeah, type ahead components are pretty easy when you think about it. You could just use an input with a data, what are they called? Data list? Where the items in your data list are populated by an if state or a loop, a for loop. Bang get. There is no bang get. And then you just give this thing an ID. You tell the input to use this as the lookup. The thing is that you can't really style data list. At least I haven't been able to style it very well. So instead I came up with, it's essentially a div wrapper, div container with the input, and then the suggestions list is just a regular div also. That the entire component itself accepts keyboard button pushes. So if it's expanded, then it'll listen for arrow keys up, down. If you start typing more, then it puts the focus back in the input field. All of those fun things, but lots of issues still with it. Not 100% nice, but pretty good. It's okay. Okay, so where are we? We tried to submit. I'm gonna stop debugging. I'm gonna let this thing reload. It's gonna open up a new window anyway. And launch. It didn't actually. Damn it. Get good. Absolutely. Okay, so what I want to know is, did we actually add the line item? And we did not. And so what I'm thinking the issue is that we don't have logic for a payment data entry. It's not that we don't have logic. It's that the logic for the payment data entry service which is, I'm so blind. Am I on it? Transaction entry service. It's a generic. It's a transaction entry service. Okay, so when we are using for our put logic, the set values. Wait, how did we end up in the client one? Server. When we use set values, we're only setting values of the top level entity. We aren't actually setting any child values. So if we have new payment detail line items, we aren't actually patching those. And that's what this step is supposed to be for. So our next step to get this thing to work the way that we want it to is to patch the entity that we retrieved from the database for any child, any related data. And so patch is an extension that I wrote. It's almost like I'm doing this like we're just at a conference and I had all of this stuff prepared ahead of time and I'm just talking through it, but really I don't remember doing any of this stuff. Patch is a method that I wrote where we are manually applying the changes to the actual, entity model. And so here you can see that I am actually updating the child objects. So for a deposit, it has an associated deposit record in the deposit table, and we're updating it from the view model that we're passing in. For a payment, we have associated line items, and we are truly patching where we are removing line items that no longer exist, adding new line items, and then updating existing line items. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to patch the payment details right here. Do you have a patch method? You do not. So we're going to patch the payment details. Which is going to be a void method. And we're going to pass it a payment detail view model. Yes. Line item type, amount, detail. Yeah, so this is if we were updating the amount of a payment detail. Cool. Or the actual detail string. Cool. So then for each line item, we're going to go line item to update.patch. Was that nullable? Wait, how does my payment detail not have a patch when I just created it? Because it's called path. Because I know how to spell. Okay, so there we go. You do. Payment detail does not contain a definition for patch, and the best extension method overload is patch. Did I not put the keyword this? You're lying to me. Why is it lying to me? Oh, because these are payment details. I need it to patch from the view model, which is payment entry view model. Wait, that is what... Oh, those are okay. So up here, I am already casting the view model line items to the entity models instead of keeping them as entity models. Okay. And so your line item ID. Nope. How does my line item not have an ID? Crap. It has the line item type ID, but not the actual line item ID. That sucks. Doesn't make sense though. Okay, so where is everywhere that you are used? More specifically, where are we setting up line items to view model? Yep, you there. It's not X, it is model. Modelo. Same thing with payment detail. No, it broke again. So we need to find the one where we are going from payment detail to... Oh wait, this was from entity to view model. Now we need from view model to entity, which this thing is in a terrible place now. Come on, man. Go down here. You're in the way. And there. Include nav properties. Entry, line items, yes, 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 and also, yes. Okay, so where's my patch? Patch. This is where we got our ID equals ID. Nope, this is where we have our ID equals ID. That's what I said. Cool. Now this is weird though. I'm returning the patched transaction object even though we're referencing the same transaction object. Do I want to do that? Yes, I do, because I want to be able to dot off of patch. That's why I did it that way. So this would allow me to, if I wanted to, if I ever had the need to, dot off of patch and then do something else. Cool. Okay, so that'll help us with updating the payment, the line items, I hope, which means that we can't use set values for our put because it's not updating any of the navigation properties. Unless any of you happen to know how I can make sure that it updates the navigation properties too. So that it would have to know how to do the patch. For this. such as in the payment details for payment transactions. Yes. Okay, that should mean we are good to go. The edit transaction should now be fully functional. I hope. That's why I'm just running it in without the debugger attached, because I'm pretty sure that's going to solve the issue with no brokenness. Please. S'il vous plaît. Let's add a new tax. Sales tax. That was some expensive tax. Here we go. Aha, an unexpected error occurred. So now we get to see what happens when we do get an error. We now see it printed out. And the actual error was an unexpected error occurred while saving the transactions. Obviously. Okay, debugger attach time. We're just gonna set the Blazor server project as a startup. That way everything just happens on the server. We can take our time debugging. If we didn't use the Blazor server project and we used any of the ones that use the HTTP request, some error messages are so helpful. When we use HTTP requests and we try to debug them and we're on the server side of the things, it's going to time out after like 90 seconds. So that's why I like to use either Blazor server, or if it's just running locally, then anything, I guess. Some services are not able to be constructed, like transaction state, for example. Blazor server, why aren't you able to add state management, transaction state, deposit data, deposit transaction service, payment transaction service, and transfer transaction service, which would come from server services, which we have 3 different types of. So here I'm saying we can have any generic transaction entry service, transaction entry service, that gets populated by any generic transaction entry service. So why doesn't it like that? Need error sound effects. Okay. So that's just the instructions for getting the service. That's not actually going to help us with debugging which one of them. Gosh, is it because they're transient? Why are they transient? Why did I make them transient? Why didn't I make these scoped? I don't understand why I didn't make these scoped. Since the server side uses scoped database transactions, or database contexts, I honestly don't know. Oh, view model validator. Oh. Server services, fluent validation. Set everything to singleton. Have some fun. Especially for like financial trackers. With potentially multiple users. I'll do it. Okay, that's better. I forgot that I added fluent validation. That was a long time ago. It looks like it's behaving for us, the Blazor server version. So we should still have a breakpoint in our transaction service, server side. We do. Okay. So let's add a fee this time of 4.4 monetary units. Cool. So we are, oh, we don't need this one. It's this one that we're trying to do. And so we're now in the server-side implementation of the update transaction. It is valid, no validation errors. We're getting our DB context from our DB context factory. We're creating a new transaction because we want this entire unit of work, which is whatever we're doing to the current record or records, to be treated as one single. If any part of this fails, everything needs to be undone. We get the existing payment record, which is not null. We patch it, where we get the transaction date equals our models, our view models information. We're good to go. Make sure we didn't lose any of these fields. Posting date was never populated. The account, oh yeah, this is going to be the thing where we have oh yeah. Oh man. What am I trying to say? This is going to be the thing where we have navigation properties that we are not trying to modify, and it's going to treat it as if we're trying to modify, for example, in our types. Our payment payee. Is it list type? I think it might be a list type. That's a terrible one to try. In our payment details, which we should have, or we're going to have more than one, we have a line item type. And so the only thing that we need here is the line item type ID. We don't need the navigation property for the line item type. So we actually need to clear out the line item type. Otherwise, it thinks that we're trying to add a new line item type. And I'm pretty sure that's what our error is going to be. It's going to be like, there is already an existing record for this thing, and you're trying to add a new record. So we know that we're trying to add a new payment detail. And that payment detail is the 0.4 monetary units. That was a line item type 3. And then there are none to remove. And there's one to update, even though there are no changes to it. Ooh. Was that where the exception happened? Dang it. It stepped over. Yeah. It's got to be this one where it's trying to have the navigation property for line item type, and it thinks that we made a modification to it. That's going to be my guess. So when we try to save changes, it's going to be an exception. Lookup line item type cannot be tracked because another instance with the same key value for ID is already being tracked. So what we need to do is the same thing that we did for accounts when we added a new... No, it's in our lookups. It's in our lookups. Lookup item service is use Dapper. So I've never used it, so I can't really say whether it would be more beneficial or harder. But I'm sure that Dapper has its own situations that you need to work around as well. What I think I did is I added a switch when going from my view model to the actual entity. Oh no, don't you dare. Time, slow down. And that's, whoa, where is it? Nuh-uh. PC Aggie says, I love Dapper. Marcus Voice Coder says, the trouble with Dapper is you have to enter all the SQL in manually. Okay, so it's pretty much you're still just writing parameterized queries. That's what I do like about Entity Framework as an ORM, is you just write C# code and it translates it into parameterized queries for you in a pretty safe way. But then again, I do like writing SQL as well. Man, where is this thing that I'm thinking of? I know that we had to like zero out the account. Not zero out, but tell it to be null bang, essentially. Was it in here? Yeah, well, let's just do it manually really quick just to prove that it's what the issue is. And then we will end the stream for now, but we'll implement it the right way. For each var cur payment detail in payment details line items. No, not data entry view model, exist record. Payment details. Cur payment detail dot lookup or line item type is null bang. Okay, so this should do it. And then there's probably another table or another the navigation property. It's I can't talk anymore. DC Aggie is saying it's not uncommon to mix and match, though as EF gets faster, I think the EF for writes and Dapper for reads thing feels less and less appealing. Yeah, especially if you use ASNO tracking appropriately with EF, it gets really fast. We're gonna charge this one 10 large monetary units and 0.25 of those. Just for being annoying. Okay, let's get all the way down to here. So now none of our payment details line items have a line item type navigation property populated. Detail is not a navigation property. Payment is a navigation property, but we didn't go that far as for, in a recursion kind of way. Who else? Transactions have transaction type, which is fine. Any other navigation properties though? The account. The account is a navigation property. That might be an issue. We'll find out. Oh, that seems to have worked, and it says it modified 2 records. Send that back. It didn't clear out the fee, which means that it applied it. I still don't know why it's not dismissing this window right away, but we'll get it to dismiss. It's probably on show changed. Ask no tracking. Otherwise things get smelled. That's terrible, but funny. And now we have the additional 10.25 monetary units. And if I refresh, then it only has that one record. It deleted the original subtotal record. It's close. It's really close. So we're going to figure this out though in the next video. We're going to, the issue with that was keeping the existing record and not treating it as a deleted record. It's possible we lost the associated transaction ID or payment ID from the payment detail. But man, we're getting there. We're getting close. Apparently, as no tracking has no actual benefit according to the entity. Really? I have noticed a massive speed up when I use as no tracking for my entities when I'm doing a read only. Like if you're using something like Blazor Server, where you are potentially connected to the DB context that you're using for the app, and you don't use as no tracking. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd be interested in researching that, because it could just be that Entity Framework just is that much better now, where you don't need as no tracking anymore. That would be awesome. But anyway, that is going to be it for today. You know what? I think I'm backwards. I think we are currently... Oh yeah. Thank you, Big Amy, for showing up. There is a shout out for Big Amy. If you're not already following him, click on the heart right above. Or there. Wherever. Oh my gosh. I already forgot what the thing was that I was going to look up. Entity Framework has no tracking. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Oh no, time zone. Time zone. Current Denver. I think I put that we're UTC -6 currently because I thought we were. Because we're in daylight. Oh, we're in daylight time. We're not in standard time. Okay, so we really are UTC -6. Never mind. I confused myself the other day. But anyway, thank you all for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will be back again on Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. UTC -6. And it's mountain time. I mean, it's 9 o'clock. We will... yeah, I need to use the restroom. I keep filling up my bladder through the stream, so I just kind of want to run, which makes me not really want to raid anyone because I need to stick around and chat with them, at least, you know, as etiquette. But I gotta run. I gotta go. So I will drink water for you, dig us off, but I might explode. But I will see you guys again the next time that you are around. Yeah. I just feel bad because I do. The end. Okay, ciao for now. Bye, little puppy. Bye, little Bit Gamey's puppy. Okay. Juice. Music. Micro.